Nowadays, how easy it is to work for a software company. You just ask ChatGPT or any other AI to code for you. It will do the maximum heavy lifting. Like here today, I am supposed to create a module which will serve an API. It doesn't matter if you want to do some work on the front end or you are willing to make an API. Even if you are working with game creation, all are very easy. Right now, my requirement is there are some tables having multiple game data like game 1, game 2, game 3. Likewise, I am having 22 tables and all those data tables are driven by a headless CMS, which is directors. As you see, directors, it is a headless CMS and it can generate APIs on the fly. Even it supports GraphQL, REST, all the API formats. So it was very easy while initialization the game types and delivering all those games. But eventually when the project grew up and some of the requirement becomes much complicated, it is necessary to deliver all those data from one data source. So it is now a requirement that I deliver a API and it is better to create a module. So I just asked ChatGPT that provide me a module which will be used in API and this will be the structure and I should be able to query using teacher ID and school ID. Like you see, it has provided a JavaScript code base. As I know, JavaScript, PHP, all those things ChatGPT is very capable of, very powerful of. But when you switch from those most used technologies to some less used technologies like Rust, Zig, then ChatGPT becomes hallucinating and they don't provide any useful, sometimes even less useful suggestions, and you will have to work much more harder than you should have. So right now, as I see, it has provided and it guessed the required programming language as the data structure I have provided, as the module structure I have provided, but it missed the PG. As I know that many of us from the developer community used to use Postgres as a default database engine, as it is the most freedom oriented. Initially, MySQL was the default choice for all of us. Later on, after the handover of MySQL to the Oracle SQL, later many of us moved MySQL to MariaDB and Postgres SQL. So it has continued with Postgres SQL. But later on, I asked like I would use MariaDB. So it has provided the MariaDB. That is the simple change it has done. Later on, while there was some modification like game 1, game 2 and school ID and teacher ID, all I need in one place. So it has provided the updated code base. I have just asked I need either school ID or teacher ID. So it has provided this one, that school ID or teacher ID must be there. The next iteration I have asked like I need to remove this status published. It has removed the status. So all the desired modification, it is capable to provide all those updates. As you see right now, the code looks like this. As a lazy programmer, I do like copy and paste a lot. So as you see, the map functionality and the spread out functionality, those are like pretty much good code it has provided. And see, this is the sample and example, and I will have to put much more information to it. Like here you see I have near about 19 data sets and tables I will have to provide. So thus let me work on these. As some of the information I cannot put to the artificial intelligence like ChatGPT, I cannot put some of the domain names over here, so I'll have to manually change those, because all of those data will be trained again and those data will be visible to their developers and other peoples, I understand, as they have a program to sanitize those updated data. So many of India and African country people, they will be having access all those data. As I know, some of the company I know, they provide those type of sanitization work, so I am quite skeptical to provide all those like relatively secure information to the chat gpt or any other llm. If it is on my system, or if it is look, if the ai is being served from my local system, then it is quite secure and there is no violation of data breach. So there it becomes little graceful. As you see, this project is running and all those api response is also there. I have done the customization as per my requirement. As we see, I have added all those tables as mentioned here. So all the data getting collected from all those tables, and there are some data modification. Those are happening over here using the map. So I am removing the status and mapping through all those data. Some additional thing I'm doing over here, like adding a game id. Suppose there is a game id tied to each and every game table, and creating a unique id, it's like creating a unique key throughout those tables. Here I am adding the table name, then appending a id which is auto generated by the mysql server, and generating a game link. The link is depending on the table type. So what I'm doing like I'm getting the domain name from the env file and then concatenating this uri substring and followed by the id so that the game url would be possible. Here the game id is getting game domain. Yes, here fc the process.env. From here the env domain, game domain is getting pulled up from there, and thus my api as a module is done. So what is the gist? In simple terms, nowadays it is very much easy to get a boilerplate code, or even to complete all those functionalities. Nowadays it is very much easy if we use company provided apis like chatgpt or similar things. We must be conscious that we don't provide some personal or critical data to the ai, because all those ai, those provided data will be used. So it's better not to provide any secret data. And there are a lot of hype going on, like programming agent devin. I have found some examples on the internet that devin is good, like 5% of them are saying devin is very good, and 95% are saying devin is not so much good. And I am very much suspicious about those 5%, because as those 5%, somehow 2 or 3% I can see a link that can be traced to the marketing company behind Devin. So I think till the date we are very much safe. It is like a helping tool. Previously, what we used to do, we used to search for a problem and we used to get a long list of solve or stack overflow links. We used to go to those links and find those solution and apply those solution to our solution and check if those solution works. So it becomes much easier to find those solution using ai, but ai is still not capable enough to replace us as human programmers. I am not a good programmer, not even a programmer, but still I manage some tasks for my company. But you must remember that it is a very useful tool. All we can do, we can use those tools so that it becomes easier to live our life, and it is like a auto completion on steroid, or having a personal search engine that provides better search at once. But it will be much better if we can use llms, especially for codes on our in-house systems. But it takes a lot of power to run all those systems. Anyhow, I will create one ai assistant for code on my local system and provide you on the next day. So bye for today, see you tomorrow.